Grumpy.
I always feel like the most formative New York stories for me are the ones where I learn something about how to live in New York. And this particular story taught me two lessons. The first of which was how not to choose a subway car, and the second is how to dress to stand out in a crowd. This happened shortly after I moved to New York. I moved to Park Slope and immediately started working in a restaurant. And it was the depth of winter, and I was really sick, and I had this cold in my nose where I actually was impacted with snot and couldn't smell anything. So I was going home on the F train, and I was waiting on the platform, and the train pulls into the station, and I noticed that there's a relatively empty car. Every other car is full of people. I'm like, why isn't anybody sitting on the train? I immediately make a beeline, obviously, for the empty car. So I step on the car, and there are 2 or 3 other people sitting with scarves over faces, watering eyes, clearly uncomfortable, but sticking it out. But unbeknownst to me, there's a homeless person at the very end of the train who is filling the car with his aroma, which, if you don't have a sense of what that's like, it's basically a cross between death and shit. And it has this oddly sweet character, which is very stomach churning. I'm perfectly fine because I can't smell a thing. Okay, well, this is fine. I'm actually, not crowded, and I can stick this out. I'm only 2 or 3 stops away. So the train is trucking along, and we go above ground, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. I can see the city from here. And the train pulls into a station 1 stop away from my house. This is where the second lesson comes in, and how to dress to stand out in a crowd. These 2 women get on. One of them is pushing a baby stroller. She's probably 21, weighs about 225. She's wearing a bright yellow belly shirt that is basically like a sausage casing on her, that has emblazoned upon it a giant pair of lips that are sequined, and there are teeth with some gold plate on them, and across the top it says, "Guard your grill." And her friend is probably 98 pounds and really tall, and is dressed top to bottom in a black bodysuit. And they get onto this train, and before they have a chance to recognize that it's actually going to be a stinking ride, the doors close behind them, and immediately their eyes go, and they look accusingly at everybody on the train as if it's our fault that they've gotten on this car. And they're like, "Ooh, it's funky up in here. How come all you people sitting on this train?" And they walk from the one end of the train car to the other, pounding on the door. "Let me off this train. Oh my God, I can't even stand it." For the length of the car and the duration of their ride. I get off at my stop with this fabulous New York story to tell.